The wine carried the scent of cardamom and saffron through the bustling bazaars of Babylon, mingling with the earthy aroma of baked clay bricks that formed the very essence of this ancient city. It was here, in this cradle of civilization, that the seeds of change were sown, ready to burst forth and transform the course of history. 1800 BC, the sun beat down on the Ishtar Gate, one of the ancient world's 7 wonders, casting long shadows from the winged bulls that guarded it. Inside the city, King Hammurabi pondered over a scroll, his brow furrowed in concentration. His empire, a patchwork quilt of lands held together with threads of trade and military might, stretched from the Mediterranean Sea to the Persian Gulf. But lately, rumblings of discontent had reached his ears, whispers of rebellion that threatened to unravel the fabric of his kingdom. His gaze fell upon the symbol of his rule, the law code of Hammurabi, a testament to his belief in order and justice. These laws, inscribed on a towering black stone pillar in the city of Susa, were the backbone of his empire, dictating every aspect of life from marriage to trade to punishment. Yet even these laws could not foresee the storm that brewed on the horizon. Meanwhile, in the shadow of the ziggurat of Babel, where priests once walked among the clouds, there stirred a brewing resentment. Among the populace, the common folk who toiled in the fields and traded in the markets, the artisans and merchants who breathed life into Babylon's bustling heart. Their loyalty to the crown was tenuous, wavering like a reed in the wind, swayed by the harshness of the king's laws and the weight of heavy taxes that burdened their daily lives. Rumors swirled like sand in a desert wind, carried on the backs of weary travelers and whispered in hushed tones around flickering oil lamps late into the night. News of distant lands where people lived under different laws, where the burdens of taxation were lighter and the punishments less severe. In the depths of their despair, the people turned to Shamash, the Mesopotamian god of justice and the sun. To them, he represented the light of hope in their darkest hours, the promise of a better day when the oppressive heat of injustice might relent. However, it was Enlil, the king of the gods, who held the ultimate sway over Babylon's fate. If he chose to turn a blind eye to the suffering of his people, then the flames of revolt would burn even brighter. In the grand palace of Babylon, nestled amidst sprawling gardens and reflecting pools, lurked danger. Surrounding the king were men and women who seemed loyal, but whose hearts harbored secrets as dark as the shadows cast by the towering palm trees. At the king's side stood his trusted general, a warrior whose prowess in battle was only matched by his cunning in matters of strategy. But ambition burned within him, fueled by dreams of power that eclipsed his loyalty to the crown. Then there was the high priestess Ishtar, her beauty and influence a potent weapon in the palace's intricate game of power. Her devotion to the goddess Ishtar, however, was intertwined with a lust for control that knew no bounds. Hidden away in the labyrinthine corridors of the palace were scholars and advisors, men who wielded the power of knowledge like a sharp-edged blade. One such man, the royal scribe, whose quill danced across papyrus sheets, recording the minutiae of the kingdom's affairs, also kept a sharp eye on the ebb and flow of power, ever ready to use his knowledge for his own advancement. Amidst this web of deceit and intrigue, the king remained oblivious, his trust misplaced or perhaps deliberately blinded by those who sought to manipulate him. Like a lone warrior facing an entire army, he stood vulnerable, unaware that the very walls of his palace harbor his greatest enemies. Little did he know that the ground beneath his feet was shifting, that the foundations of his power were crumbling, and that the people he once commanded were on the brink of open rebellion. The revolution began not with a roar, but with the soft murmur of discontent that echoed through the winding alleyways of Babylon. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that concealed the faces of the conspirators, the real planning began. In hushed tones, they exchanged tales of woe, each story adding fuel to the fire of their collective anger. They spoke of families torn apart by the king's unjust laws, of livelihoods destroyed by exorbitant taxes, and of hopes and dreams crushed by the unyielding wheels of oppression. It was in these moments of shared misery that the seeds of unity were sown. The baker, the coppersmith, the weaver, the fisherman, all forged an unlikely brotherhood bound by their desire for justice and equality. And when the scorching heat of the Babylonian summer gave way to the cooler nights, so did their resolve. Under the cloak of darkness, they transformed from simple citizens into a formidable force, ready to challenge the very foundations of their society. They planned in secret, devising strategies to overthrow the regime and replace it with one that championed fairness and equality. Weapons were smuggled out of armories. Tools used in their daily trades became instruments of rebellion, and courage, the most potent weapon of all, flowed through their veins. As the full moon illuminated the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the city, the conspirators prepared for their final act of defiance. With the support of many, they were ready to make their move. But where does one begin when challenging the might of an empire? Some say the revolution began with a single spark, a moment of courage that ignited the tinderbox of discontent. Others claim it was a slow burn, the steady accumulation of grievances that eventually reached a boiling point. What is certain is that when the flames of rebellion did erupt, they spread like wildfire through the dry brush of Babylon's underbelly. Armed with the fervor of the oppressed, the rebels launched a campaign of civil disobedience against the established order. They boycotted markets, shut down workshops, and refused to pay taxes, effectively crippling the economic engine that kept Babylon running. In the face of this growing defiance, the king's forces were caught off guard. They had underestimated the strength of the people's will, their ability to unite and fight for a common cause. The streets of Babylon became a battleground, the very heart of the empire, a war zone. The cries of vendors were replaced by the clash of steel on steel, the murmur of merchants by the roar of angry mobs. The palace guards found themselves locked in deadly confrontations with citizens they had once patrolled alongside. The priests who once conducted their rituals undisturbed now found themselves caught in the crossfire, their pleas for peace drowned out by the din of battle. In the midst of this chaos, the king and his inner circle remained holed up in the palace, their lavish chambers transformed into gilded cages. The general, consumed by his own ambitions, saw the opportunity to seize power for himself. He rallied the loyalist troops, promising them rewards and honors if they stood by the crown. Meanwhile, the high priestess, ever ambitious, sought to exploit the unrest for her own gain. She played on the people's fears and religious fervor, attempting to rally the populace to her side. However, the tide had already turned. The people's trust in the ruling class was shattered, their loyalty bought and sold to many times by the wines of opportunism. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the king's authority was slipping through his grasp like grains of sand. The once vibrant colors of Babylon were drained away, leaving behind a city shrouded in the pallor of fear and uncertainty. In the annals of history, there are few accounts of such upheaval and destruction caused by a revolution. Let us draw upon the echoes of the past and imagine what might have transpired. Had the Babylonians revolted against their king, as the days turned into weeks, the conflict between the people and the monarchy escalated, drawing in neighboring settlements and provinces. Ambassadors were summoned, alliances forged, and soon the outskirts of Babylon were teeming with soldiers ready to defend their respective sides. The plain surrounding the city became a graveyard of broken shields and abandoned weapons, a testament to the bloodshed that stained the soil. Within the walls, food supplies dwindled, forcing the king to seek aid from his allies. The city's once bustling marketplaces transformed into scenes of desperation as people haggled over the price of a loaf of bread or a jug of water. The steady rhythm of hammer on anvil that had created Babylon's famed bronze treasures was silenced, replaced by the somber clang of the blacksmith's hammer on the edge of his sword. For many, it was a grim necessity, a means to ensure survival in a city that had turned into a battleground. Others, driven by a thirst for revenge, sharpened their tools into deadly weapons, preparing to unleash their fury on the oppressors who had held them in their thrall for so long. And as the situation grew increasingly dire, so did the lengths to which the two sides went. Accusations flew like poisoned arrows, inciting hatred and suspicion. Lives were forfeit on the slimmest of evidence, and trust became a luxury no one could afford. Even the most ordinary of tasks carried an undercurrent of danger. A friendly exchange of goods could turn into a violent confrontation. A chance encounter in a narrow alley might lead to a vicious attack. The sanctity of places once considered neutral, like temples and marketplaces, was violated. Each day brought with it fresh horrors, leaving the people of Babylon questioning whether they could endure much more. Amidst this turmoil, stories emerged of bravery, sacrifice, and resilience that continue to resonate through the corridors of history. Tales of individuals who dared to defy the odds, offering aid to those in need, sheltering the wounded, or even risking their lives to deliver messages of hope. These acts of kindness served as flickering candles in the darkness, illuminating the best of humanity even in the darkest of times. Yet as the siege dragged on, it became evident that even the strongest of spirits could be tested beyond their limits. Lines between good and evil blurred, the horrors of war seeped into the very essence of the city, tainting the minds of its inhabitants. Every sunrise brought new challenges, forcing the people of Babylon to confront the depths of their endurance. The siege became a crucible, refining their strength, testing their resolve, and forging their spirit in the fires of adversity. Ultimately, the question was not whether the siege would end, but what form this ending would take. Would Babylon emerge from this ordeal scarred but unbroken, or would it crumble into ruins, leaving behind only whispers of its former glory? Only time would tell. And as we reflect on this pivotal moment in Babylonian history, let us remember that revolutions are not merely clashes of arms or political ideologies. They are, above all, testaments to the indomitable spirit of humanity, a testament to the enduring flame of hope that flickers even in the darkest of times. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment below with your thoughts and suggestions. Your feedback is very important to us and helps us create more engaging content for you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels so you don't miss any of our future episodes. We have many more exciting stories from history's past that we caught and wait to share with you. So join our community of history enthusiasts and stay tuned for more captivating tales. Once again, thank you for watching and we'll see you next time. In the annals of history, few symbols have resonated as profoundly as blood. It has been the life essence, a divine marker, a badge of courage, a curse, and a conduit to the afterlife. This crimson liquid coursing through our veins holds mysteries that have both fascinated and terrified humanity throughout time. Today, we're delving deep into the historical heartland of Babylon. Imagine yourself transported back to a time when the sun-baked bricks of the great city shimmered under the Mesopotamian sun. We'll explore what blood meant in this cradle of civilization, uncovering its significance in religion, law, and everyday life. Welcome to the channel. Let's start by asking a simple, yet what is blood? This might seem like a basic question, but for the Babylonians, their understanding of blood went far beyond a mere bodily fluid. It was the very essence of life, a tangible representation of the vital force, or etemu that animated all living beings. This belief was deeply rooted in their animistic worldview, where everything possessed a soul or spirit. The concept of blood as a life force was not unique to Babylon. It echoed through various Mesopotamian cultures, and indeed many ancient civilizations saw blood as a sacred, almost magical substance. Now let's dive into the myths. In the heart of Babylonian mythology, blood becomes a creative force, a link between the gods and the mortals. The Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation epic, paints a vivid picture of this. The story goes that after the victorious battle between the gods Marduk and Tiamat, the primordial goddess of chaos, Marduk, commissioned by the other gods to create humankind. He fashioned the first humans from the blood of Tiamat mixed with clay. This myth clearly shows that blood wasn't just a component of life, it was life itself. The act of creation from the blood of a deity elevated blood to a divine essence, a substance imbued with the power of the gods. This also led to an important theological concept. Humans, created from the blood of a god, were essentially divine sparks trapped within mortal clay. This idea of the inherent divinity of humanity had profound implications for how the Babylonians viewed their place in the cosmos. But how did this understanding of blood shape their daily lives? Well, let's turn our attention to religion. Religion was the cornerstone of Babylonian society. It permeated every aspect of life, from the grand temples to the humblest home. And blood was at the center of many of their religious practices. Animal sacrifice was a common feature of Babylonian religious ceremonies. The blood of these sacrifices didn't just represent the life force of the animal, it became a tangible link between the earthly realm and the divine. The act of sacrifice was a way to communicate with the gods, to appease them, to seek their favor, or to simply acknowledge their presence. The blood served as a sort of currency of the spiritual realm. The most common animals sacrificed were lambs and bulls, creatures that symbolized purity and virility. The blood was then used in various ways depending on the ritual. It was sprinkled on altars, mixed with water for purification rites, or even rubbed on the bodies of worshippers seeking divine favor. In essence, the blood of the sacrifice acted as a mediator between humanity and the gods. It carried prayers, hopes, and fears from the earthly realm to the celestial heights. And the response of the gods was often interpreted through the blood itself. Priests and diviners alike would examine the flow, color, and consistency of the blood to discern the will of the deities. Religious rituals aside, blood also played a significant role in Babylonian medicine and divination. For the Babylonians, illness could be caused not just by natural imbalances, but also by supernatural influences. Blood became a battleground where physicians and exorcists, known as Sapu, confronted demonic forces. These brave souls were not just healers of the body, they were also mediators between the world of the living and the world of the dead. They used blood as a tool, a means to diagnose illnesses and expel evil spirits. A change in the blood's appearance or consistency could indicate demonic possession or divine displeasure. So they interpreted every sign with utmost seriousness. Blood, therefore, became a key element in their healing rituals, sometimes as a curative substance itself, and sometimes as a way to drive out evil spirits. Diviners, too, relied heavily on blood, not just for medical purposes, but to foretell the future. They examined the blood of sacrificed animals, a practice known as extispasy, where the texture and consistency of the liver and other organs were scrutinized for signs and omens. Blood, in this context, was a language, a cryptic message from the gods, and the diviners were its interpreters. Moving on to another critical aspect of Babylonian society, we come to law. In the absence of modern-day forensic science, blood held a unique legal weight. The famous Code of Hammurabi, a collection of 280 legal rules, provides insights into the importance of blood in Babylonian jurisprudence. The code prescribes strict penalties for those who committed acts of bloodshed, emphasizing restitution or retribution. In a society where family ties were paramount, harming someone meant harming their bloodline. Blood feuds, while frowned upon in the code, were sometimes unavoidable. But the law provided mechanisms to prevent them from spiraling into endless cycles of violence. Blood, in this context, was not just a bodily fluid, it was a marker of identity, a bond that connected individuals to their families and communities. The king, too, was seen as the protector of the blood of his people. His legitimacy often involved rituals that affirmed his divine right to rule, symbolizing his role as the guardian of justice and order. Finally, let's explore the intersection of blood and everyday life in Babylon. Blood was not just a part of religious, legal, and medical practices, it was woven into the fabric of daily existence. From agricultural rituals to household chores, blood symbolism was omnipresent. For instance, in ancient Mesopotamian agriculture, the blood of a bull, often mixed with water, was sprinkled on fields as a kind of fertilizer or blessing, ensuring fertility and warding off evil spirits. Blood also played a role in more mundane aspects of life, such as the purification of homes and the cleansing of hands before meals. In these contexts, blood acted as a purifier, a way to ward off bad luck or contamination. Moreover, blood was closely linked to fertility and the continuation of life. Menstrual blood, while sometimes viewed as impure, was also seen as a symbol of the creative power of women. It represented the potential for life and was often linked to goddesses like Ishtar, who embodied both the blessings and perils of fertility. Blood, therefore, in everyday life was a constant reminder of the delicate balance between life and death, purity and impurity, order and chaos. It was a language that transcended spoken words, a visual narrative that told stories of humanity's relationship with the divine. As we bring our exploration to a close, it's essential to understand that for the Babylonians, blood wasn't just a bodily fluid. It was the life essence, a divine gift, a creative force, and a link to the spiritual realm. Their beliefs and practices surrounding blood offer us a profound insight into their world, their fears, their hopes, and their faith. The legacy of blood symbolism in Babylon left an enduring impact, influencing neighboring cultures and later civilizations. Its echoes resonate in the sacrificial traditions of the ancient Near East and the metaphorical use of blood in Judeo-Christian theology. In today's world, where scientific understanding often overshadows mythological beliefs, it's easy to forget the profound symbolism associated with blood. But perhaps it's time we took a step back and looked beyond the liquid in our veins. Maybe there's wisdom in the ancient tales that can guide us as we navigate our modern lives. And who knows, maybe in the stories of Babylon, we can find a deeper appreciation for the miracle of life that courses through us all. Before we part ways, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What surprised you the most about Babylonian beliefs regarding blood? And how do you think their understanding of blood shaped their society? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys through history. Thanks for joining us today. Stay curious and we'll see you next time. In the heart of ancient history, where facts intertwine with legends, the city of Babylon emerges as a symbol of power, corruption, and ruin. Babylon, that great city built by Nebuchadnezzar, was a center of civilization and authority. But it also became an example of arrogance and injustice. In the text of the Old Testament, we find repeated references to Babylon as an enemy of Israel, as an instrument of divine punishment before becoming itself the target of judgment. Among these texts, the verse Jeremiah 51-35 stands out as a cry of the oppressed, a call for divine justice. The verse states, "May the violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon," the inhabitant of Zion will say. "And may my blood be upon the inhabitants of Chaldea," Jerusalem will say. We are going to delve into the depths of this biblical verse, analyzing its historical context, understanding its profound meaning, and exploring its relevance in our lives today. Join us on this journey through time and faith as we discover the secrets hidden in Jeremiah 51 minutes and 35 seconds. Before we begin our reflection, we invite you to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our new videos every week. We encourage you to leave a comment with your thoughts or questions about the verse we are studying. Let's dive into the fascinating world of the Bible together. To fully understand the weight of Jeremiah 51-35, it is essential that we immerse ourselves in the historical context in which this verse is found. At the time when the prophet Jeremiah was delivering his message, the kingdom of Judah was in serious trouble. The Babylonians, led by King Nebuchadnezzar, were advancing towards Jerusalem, threatening to destroy the city and to take the people into exile. This historical backdrop creates a tense and dramatic atmosphere in which the words of Jeremiah resonate with even greater force. The verse is part of a larger prophetic message in which Jeremiah denounces the imminent destruction of Babylon and the liberation of the people of Judah from their oppressors. Babylon, seen as the great world power of the time, represents tyranny, injustice, and oppression. On the other hand, Jerusalem and Zion represent the people of Judah who suffer under Babylonian domination. It is precisely this unjust situation that gives rise to the powerful declaration contained in Jeremiah 51-35. Now let's break down the verse to understand its deeper meaning. "May the violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon." These words express the deep suffering and injustice experienced by the people of Judah at the hands of the Babylonians. The violence inflicted upon them is not only physical, but also psychological and spiritual. The prophet identifies himself with his people, sharing their pain and anger. By saying the violence done to me and to my flesh, he emphasizes that the suffering is not just something distant, but something he personally experiences. This identification creates a strong emotional connection between the prophet and his audience, intensifying the impact of his message. Continuing with the analysis, we come to the words, "The inhabitant of Zion will say." This phrase indicates that the declaration of violence against Babylon is not only a personal claim by Jeremiah, but is sentiment shared by the entire community of Zion. The people of Judah feel united in their pain and desire for justice. They cry out to God, asking him to hear their cry and act to bring about justice. However, the climax of the verse occurs in the following words, "And may my blood be upon the inhabitants of Shalga." Here, blood appears as a symbol of violence, oppression, and injustice. The blood shed by the people of Judah at the hands of the Babylonians becomes a witness to the crimes committed by Babylon. It is a powerful image that evokes the brutality of the attacks and the tragic consequences they have caused. But the blood does not remain as a symbol of suffering. It also becomes the basis for a demand for justice. The people of Judah ask that the blood shed by them be attributed to the inhabitants of Shalga, holding them responsible for the violence they have committed. It is a cry for divine retribution, a request that God punish those responsible for their suffering. Finally, we come to the last part of the verse. Jerusalem will say. This reinforces the idea that the sentiment expressed is not individual, but collective. The entire community of Jerusalem shares the sentiment and asks for justice to be done. As we have seen, Jeremiah 51-35 is a powerful text that expresses the suffering, injustice, and desire for revenge experienced by the people of Judah under Babylonian domination. The verse uses strong imagery and symbolism to evoke the brutality of the attacks and the depth of the pain felt by the oppressed community. The blood shed by the martyrs becomes a witness to the crimes committed by Babylon, serving as the basis for a demand for justice. The text shows the emotional connection between the prophet and his people, as well as the unity and solidarity that existed within the community of Judah. Faced with oppression, they cried out to God for help, asking for retribution for the violence suffered. But what makes this verse so relevant for us today? What lessons can we learn from it for our lives? In our contemporary context, it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the immense suffering and injustice that exists in our world. From conflicts and wars to social inequality and human rights violations, we are constantly confronted with situations that touch us deeply. Faced with this reality, it is important that we remember and reflect on texts like Jeremiah 51-35, which express the pain and desire for justice. The verse reminds us that those who suffer from oppression and injustice have the right to demand that justice be done. It encourages us to raise our voices and speak out against any form of violence and abuse of power. Furthermore, the text invites us to identify ourselves with the suffering of others, putting ourselves in their shoes and understanding their pain and their cry for help. By doing so, we cultivate empathy and compassion, which are essential values in building a more just and fraternal society. Another important lesson we can learn from this verse is the need for divine justice and retribution. When faced with the impunity with which many crimes and acts of injustice go unpunished, it is natural for us to yearn for a higher justice that can punish those responsible and bring about true retribution. Jeremiah 51-35 expresses this longing in a powerful way, showing that the desire for justice is part of the human condition. However, it is essential that we remember that the thirst for revenge and vengeance should not lead us to hatred or a desire to inflict suffering on others. The text does not advocate for violence or retaliation, but rather for divine justice, that is, a justice that comes from God and is based on his laws and principles. In conclusion, Jeremiah 51-35 is a verse full of meaning and lessons for our lives. It reminds us of the importance of fighting for justice and standing up against oppression and abuse of power. Encourages us to cultivate empathy and compassion for those who suffer and teaches us that the desire for justice is part of the human condition. However, it also warns us that the pursuit of justice should not lead us to hatred or a desire for revenge. It is a powerful text that continues to resonate in our hearts and inspire us to work for a better world. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Subscribe to our channel to receive notifications of our new videos every week. Thank you for watching. May God bless you and see you next time. This is the channel where we explore the depths of consciousness, where we discuss the spiritual, the mystical, the psychological, and the metaphysical. We invite you to subscribe because together we can expand our minds and awaken our spirits. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you won't miss any of our new videos. Today we dive deep into a powerful and thought-provoking phrase, blood in a Babylon. Now before we begin, let's take a moment to light some incense or sage and set our intentions for this journey. Let's clear our minds and open our hearts. Now let's get started. Picture this, a bustling city, towering buildings, bright lights, the pulse of commerce. This is Babylon. It's not just a place, it's a symbol, an emblem of the world turned upside down. Here, power plays God, materialism reigns supreme, and the soul gets lost in the maze of concrete and steel. But amidst the glitter and grime, a resilient spirit emerges, crying out for justice, for a return to roots, for a connection to the divine. In this urban jungle, a quiet revolution is brewing, a revolution of the mind, heart, and spirit. It's the cry of blood in a Babylon, a profound declaration that resonates far beyond the confines of four walls. It is a testament to the human spirit as indomitable will to rise above the odds and find solace in faith. But what exactly does blood in a Babylon mean? At its core, it's a call to arms, a rallying cry for those who dare to dream of a better world, a world uncorrupted by the vices of power and greed. It speaks of a people caught in the throes of societal upheaval, grappling to maintain their identity and values in the face of relentless pressure to conform. Let's break down the layers of this phrase. First, we encounter blood, a symbol rich with meaning, representing life, vitality, lineage, and most importantly, sacrifice. Think of the vibrant red coursing through our veins, a constant reminder of our shared humanity, our interconnectedness. It's a testament to the tenacity of life, the enduring spirit that refuses to be extinguished no matter how dark the shadows grow. Next, we come to Babylon. In the context of reggae music and Rastafarian culture, Babylon isn't just a geographical location. It's a metaphorical construct, a representation of the forces that seek to suppress, control, and exploit. It embodies the struggles of the marginalized, the disillusioned, and the downtrodden, those who find themselves at odds with a system that seems intent on crushing their dreams and aspirations. Now imagine the fusion of these two elements, blood and Babylon. What emerges is a haunting image, a potent metaphor that speaks to the struggles of those caught in the grip of an unyielding system. It's a symbol of resistance, a testament to the courage of those who stand firm in their beliefs despite the heavy odds stacked against them. In essence, blood in a Babylon encapsulates the essence of resilience. It's a celebration of the human spirit's ability to endure, to adapt, and to thrive even in the most challenging circumstances. It's a reminder that the pursuit of justice, freedom, and equality is often paved with sacrifice, and that the bloodshed along the way is not in vain, but a testament to the unwavering commitment to a better tomorrow. To truly understand this phrase, we must delve deeper into the cultural and historical contexts that gave it birth. Reggae music, born in the heart of Jamaica, is more than just a genre. It's a cultural movement, a voice for the voiceless, a soundtrack to the struggles and aspirations of a nation. Its roots are firmly planted in the soil of social injustice, economic disparity, and political turmoil. At the heart of this cultural landscape lies the influence of Rastafarianism, a religious and cultural movement that emerged in Jamaica during the early 20th century. Rastafarianism, often referred to as Rastafari, is a blend of Christian, Jewish, and African traditions, interwoven with a deep-seated Pan-Africanism and a profound respect for the natural world. Central to its teachings is the concept of Babylon, which symbolizes the forces of oppression, materialism, and social injustice. For the Rastafari, Babylon is not just a place, it's an idea, a representation of the socio-political systems they believe are designed to subjugate and exploit. It's a term borrowed from the Bible, specifically the Book of Revelation, where Babylon is used to depict a decadent and oppressive empire. In the context of Rastafarianism, modern Babylon refers to the perceived evils of Western society, materialism, consumerism, and the exploitation of developing nations. This brings us back to the phrase blood in a Babylon. Within the context of Rastafari, blood symbolizes life, heritage, and sacrifice. It's a tribute to the struggles and tribulations endured by Black people throughout history, particularly those of African descent. The shedding of blood represents the pain, suffering, and martyrdom endured under the yoke of slavery, colonialism, and racial persecution. Think of the countless lives uprooted, the families torn apart, the dreams shattered, and the spirits broken under the weight of oppression. The blood symbolizes the indelible mark left by these atrocities, a wound that refuses to heal until justice and equality prevail. Furthermore, the concept of blood also speaks to the spiritual essence of Rastafari. It alludes to the blood covenant, a sacred bond between the followers of Rastafari and their ancestors. It's a recognition of the shared struggles, the collective memory, and the unbroken chain of resistance that connects generations. It's a reminder of the importance of preserving cultural heritage, of honoring the sacrifices made by those who came before, and carrying the torch of liberation forward. Now let's consider the fusion of these two powerful symbols, blood and Babylon. When we speak of blood in a Babylon, we're painting a vivid picture of the struggles faced by the oppressed, the marginalized, and the persecuted. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the tenacity of the soul in the face of overwhelming adversity. Imagine a society, a system that seeks to snuff out the flame of individuality, to erase cultural identity, and to crush the yearning for freedom and equality. It's a grim portrayal of a world where basic human rights are trampled upon, where voices are silenced, and where dreams are deemed too audacious to be realized. Yet amidst this bleak landscape, the spirit of resistance flickers, fueled by the very essence of life, the blood that courses through the veins of the oppressed. It's a potent symbol of the struggles faced by those fighting for justice, for equality, and for the right to exist without fear or prejudice. Moreover, blood in a Babylon speaks to the depths of human endurance, the capacity of the spirit to persevere even in the darkest of times. It's a tribute to the martyrs, those who have sacrificed and suffered in the name of a greater cause, whose blood has watered the seeds of change and whose memory serves as a catalyst for action. In the tapestry of human experience, blood in a Babylon stands as a thread of resilience, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who refuse to be broken by the forces of oppression. It's a rallying cry, a call to solidarity, and a promise of unwavering resistance in the face of adversity. As we bring this exploration to its end, let us take a moment to reflect on the profound impact of the phrase blood in a Babylon. This evocative expression encapsulates the essence of struggle, sacrifice, and the unyielding pursuit of justice. From the vibrant rhythms of reggae to the spiritual teachings of Rastafarianism, this phrase has resonated through generations, transcending geographical boundaries and cultural divides. It's a universal language that speaks to the human condition, the fight for equality, and the search for a better world. In the streets of Kingston to the ghettos of Babylon, this phrase has been a battle cry, a mantra of resistance against the forces of oppression and control. It is a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who have dared to dream of a world free from prejudice, poverty, and injustice. So when you hear the echoes of blood in a Babylon, let it stir your soul, ignite your passion, and inspire your actions. Embrace the spirit of resilience, the pursuit of justice, and the unwavering belief in a brighter tomorrow. Remember, the bloodshed in the struggle for freedom is not in vain. It's a seed that will blossom into a garden of equality and justice for generations to come. Before we part ways, let's take a moment to honor the blood that flows through our veins, the blood that connects us all. Let it remind us of our shared humanity, our responsibility to one another, and the unwavering strength that lies within each and every one of us. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. Together, let's continue to shed light on the depths of consciousness, explore the mysteries of the human experience, and awaken our spirits to the endless possibilities that await us. Until next time, keep the spirit of blood in a Babylon alive in your hearts and let its message of resilience guide you on your path. Blood and Babylon are two concepts that, despite being rooted in ancient religious texts, continue to reverberate strongly in modern song lyrics. Both symbols carry profound weight, offering artists a rich source of inspiration and metaphor to explore complex themes in their work. The prevalence of these concepts in modern songs can be attributed to several factors, including their adaptability to diverse musical genres, their capacity to express intense emotions, and their enduring relevance in contemporary social and political contexts. But why do these symbols hold such relevance even today? What does blood symbolize in the context of modern songs? To understand this, let's delve into its historical and symbolic significance. The concept of blood holds deep religious meaning, particularly in the Christian faith. The Bible frequently uses blood as a symbol of sacrifice and redemption. The most significant example is the blood of Christ, which, according to Christian beliefs, cleanses humanity of sin. In this context, blood represents purity, expiation, and the covenant between God and man. However, the Bible also portrays blood in another light, associating it with violence, death, and sin. For instance, the book of Genesis links the shedding of Abel's blood with the punishment of his brother Cain, establishing a connection between blood and guilt. This dual symbolism imbues blood with a complex meaning, representing both life and death, purity and violence, depending on the context. Modern songs often exploit this ambiguity, employing blood as a symbol of physical and emotional pain, suffering, and even death. For example, the song Blood and Thunder by Mastodon uses blood as an emblem of violent rage and primal energy. Similarly, bands like Metallica and Slayer frequently use blood imagery to express themes of anguish, despair, and the darker aspects of human existence. On the other hand, artists like Bono and U2 infuse blood with spiritual significance, employing it as a metaphor for the shared humanity that connects people across races, religions, and cultures. In songs like Pride in the Name of Love, blood becomes a symbol of unity, courage, and the struggle for justice. What about the concept of Babylon? It too has deep roots in religious texts, particularly in the Abrahamic faiths. In the Torah, Babylon is infamous for its association with the Tower of Babel, where humanity attempted to reach heaven through human efforts rather than divine grace. This act of defiance led God to confuse their languages and scatter them across the earth, marking Babylon as a symbol of pride, arrogance, and the consequences of straying from the divine path. The concept of Babylon resonates strongly in modern songs, often serving as a metaphor for corruption, decadence, and oppression. Artists like David Bowie and Queen use Babylon as a symbol of excess and moral decline in songs like Under Pressure. In this context, Babylon represents a society consumed by materialism, superficiality, and the pursuit of pleasure without depth or meaning. Furthermore, in the Book of Revelation, the fall of Babylon is depicted as the downfall of an oppressive and unjust empire, symbolizing liberation and the triumph of good over evil. This messianic aspect of Babylon's fall gives rise to interpretations of the city as a representation of tyranny, persecution, and unrighteous authority. In songs like The Battle of Everglades by Muse, Babylon embodies a totalitarian regime that seeks to control and exploit its citizens. The song's call to overthrow Babylon reflects a desire for revolution and the restoration of freedom and equality. The enduring appeal of these symbols in modern songs can be attributed to their adaptability and capacity to transcend specific contexts. They offer artists a rich source of inspiration, allowing them to infuse their work with layers of meaning and symbolism that resonate with diverse audiences. Moreover, the dramatic and emotionally charged nature of Blood and Babylon as concepts make them particularly suitable for artistic expression. They enable artists to convey powerful messages and evoke strong emotions in listeners, elevating their work beyond mere entertainment and transforming it into a platform for social commentary, personal reflection, or spiritual exploration. Now let us examine how these symbols manifest in various musical genres and their specific meanings within each context. Heavy metal and rock music frequently employ the concept of blood as a symbol of intensity, aggression, and rebelliousness. Bands like Slipknot and Korn use blood imagery to express themes of pain, suffering, and alienation. For example, the song Blood by Slipknot portrays blood as a representation of the pain and torment endured by the protagonist. Similarly, the use of blood in songs like Freak on a Leash by Korn emphasizes themes of self-destruction and the darker aspects of human nature. In contrast, bands like Metallica and Megadeth employ blood as a symbol of violence, war, and societal decay. Songs like One by Metallica depict the horrors of war through graphic imagery of blood, guts, and disfigurement. Megadeth's Blood of the Enemies portrays blood as a symbol of vengeance and the desire for retribution. Within the genre of hip-hop, blood takes on a different set of meanings, often associated with street culture, gang violence, and the struggle for survival. Artists like Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. frequently used blood as a symbol of the harsh realities of life in impoverished communities. In songs like Brandy's Got a Baby by Tupac, blood becomes a metaphor for the desperation and hopelessness that can arise from extreme poverty and lack of opportunity. Similarly, in songs like Juicy by the Notorious B.I.G., blood symbolizes the constant threat of violence and the struggle to overcome adversity in a hostile environment. The use of blood in electronic and pop music tends to be more abstract, often employed as a symbol of love, loss, and heartbreak. Artists like Lady Gaga and Marina and the Diamonds use blood imagery to express themes of passion, desire, and the complexities of human relationships. For example, in Bloody Mary by Lady Gaga, blood becomes a metaphor for the obsessive nature of love and the dark side of desire. Likewise, Marina and the Diamonds use blood in songs like Prima Donna and Hollywood to symbolize the price of fame and the superficiality of celebrity culture. The concept of Babylon holds particular significance in modern songs, often serving as a symbol of societal corruption and oppression. Artists like Bob Marley and Peter Tosh frequently use Babylon as a metaphor for oppressive forces and the struggle for liberation. In songs like Get Up, Stand Up by Bob Marley, Babylon represents the unjust and oppressive regime that oppresses the people. The call to action in the song encourages listeners to rise up against tyranny and fight for their rights. Similarly, Peter Tosh's Legalize It uses Babylon as a symbol of the corrupt and hypocritical nature of authorities who criminalize certain behaviors while engaging in them themselves. Other artists like Radiohead and 9 Inch Nails incorporate Babylon into their work as a representation of alienation, isolation, and the dark aspects of human psychology. In songs like Paranoid Android by Radiohead, Babylon embodies a society driven by consumerism, media manipulation, and the disintegration of traditional values. 9 Inch Nails Head Like a Hole uses Babylon as a metaphor for the protagonist's internal struggles with depression, self-destruction, and the search for meaning in a chaotic world. The enduring relevance of these symbols in modern songs can be attributed to their capacity to transcend specific context and their ability to express complex themes with conciseness and impact. They enable artists to connect with audiences on a deeper level, inviting listeners to contemplate profound questions about humanity, society, and the search for meaning in an ever-changing world. Furthermore, the continued use of blood and Babylon in contemporary songs reflects a desire to grapple with difficult and often uncomfortable aspects of the human experience. They provide a framework for exploring themes of violence, oppression, suffering, and the struggle for justice and liberation. By confronting these challenging topics through powerful symbolism, artists encourage dialogue, empathy, and a deeper understanding of the complexities that shape our world. Finally, it's important to recognize the influence of cultural and historical factors on the interpretation of these symbols. Each generation rediscovers and reinterprets Blood and Babylon according to its own experiences and challenges, ensuring that these concepts remain dynamically relevant in contemporary music. Furthermore, the dramatic and emotionally charged nature of these symbols makes them particularly effective in artistic expression, allowing artists to convey complex ideas and evoke strong emotions in listeners. Their enduring presence in modern songs serves as a testament to their power and versatility as symbols that continue to shape the landscape of contemporary music. In conclusion, the continued use of Blood and Babylon in modern songs is a testament to the enduring power of symbolism and its ability to transcend time and cultural boundaries. These symbols, deeply rooted in religious texts and tradition, have evolved and adapted to contemporary contexts, offering artists a rich source of inspiration and metaphor, whether expressing themes of pain, suffering, societal corruption, or the struggle for liberation. Blood and Babylon continue to resonate with audiences, inviting them to explore the complexities of the human experience and reflect on the challenges and triumphs of our time. Their continued prominence in modern music serves as a reminder of the vital role symbolism plays in shaping our understanding of the world and ourselves. That was all for the day, and please subscribe for the next videos. Thank you very much.